Alrighty, here we are on the entrance slips for lesson 23. So, numbers 1 and 2, solve and justify your steps. So, let's start with the solving first. So, I would subtract 2 on both sides. So, I would have 3/4 x equals 12. Then, I know this is technically 3/4 times x. So in your mind, you are correct in thinking we should divide, all right? But remember, when you divide fractions, you end up multiplying by the reciprocal. So I can just go ahead and multiply by 4/3 here. So everything on the on the left-hand side cancels. So we get x equals. Now I'm going to do a little cross division. I can divide both of these by 3. So my 3 becomes a 1. That becomes a 4. So then I'm really just doing 4 times 4, which is 16. Okay, so my first step would be to subtract 2 from both sides. Make sure you include from both sides, that's the important part. And then multiply by 4/3 on both sides. Okay, that's it. All right, now number 2 here kind of looks a little different. The first thing you should be doing is multiplying by 3 on both sides to get rid of that fraction on the left. So on the left, those 3's would cancel, so I would just have 2x plus 8 equals 12. So step 1, multiply by 3 on both sides. All right, then this is just a regular old two-step equation, so I would subtract 8 on both sides. So I get 2x equals 4. So step 2, subtract 8. Ooh, my pen's got a mind of its own. So subtract 8 on both sides. And then the last step would be to divide by 2 on both sides. So you should get x equals 2. So step 3, divide by 2 on both sides. All right, so that's the first part. Second part is a word problem. It says Jack's math teacher entered the 7th grade students in a math competition. There was an enrollment fee of $30. So we have a fee of $30 and also an $11 charge for each packet of 10 tests. The cost was $151. How many tests were purchased? Okay, so this is getting a little trickier, all right? And that's okay. You might have to work backwards. All right. Sometimes that works. You work backwards and you like solve the problem without an equation, but you have to have an equation. So, two options here. I'm going to go with what I think most of you hopefully figured out first. So we know that in total, it's $151. Okay. We also know that there is this $30 fee we have to have. So it's plus $30. And then there's an $11 charge for each packet of 10 tests. So in this first one, I'm going to imagine we are looking for packets. How many packets? Okay. Some of you might not even realize you did this. So if it's $11 per packet, that would be like 11p plus the 30 equals 151. So then I can go in and solve this. So subtract 30. So 11p equals 121. And then I'm going to divide by 11 on both sides. So you would get p equals 11. Okay. Now, the problem with this setup is that that's not what the question asked for. The question asked for how many tests were purchased. So we would have to take that 11 packets and then like off to the side multiply by 10 because there's 10 in each packet. Okay, so then when you do the 11 times 10, you would get 110 tests. All right. Now, we really don't want to have to do work off to the side. So I'm going to do it the second way. We would still equal 151. We'd still have that plus 30. We could still talk about packets, all right? But in each packet, it's like dividing by 10 because there's 11 in each packet. But then we would also still have to multiply by 11 because it's $11 per packet. Okay, now getting to this red equation, that's a little tricky, right? That's all right if that kind of hurts your brain. But I'll solve it anyway. So we would still subtract 30 on both sides. So you get 11, it's like 11/10 kind of P equals 121. So now this is similar to question 1 from up above. So now I could multiply by 10 11ths on both sides. So I'd get P equals, and I would cross divide, so the 11 would become a 1, that would become 11, and you would still get your 110 tests. Okay, so probably one of the harder ones we've seen so far, but once you've checked this, you can just go ahead and move on into the classwork.